Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Murdoch DeFi YouTube channel. And in today's video, well, if you clicked on this video, well, then you're probably maybe a little bit of a degen like me sometimes. However, the project that we're going to be talking about today is a very speculative play. It is very high risk. And if history does in fact repeat itself, then we already know what's going to happen with this project called Accumulator. Now, I do want to mention this is a paid review. So the team reached out. They are KYC'd with True Seekers, though. That's one of the reasons why I decided to take this and kind of give a full unbiased review of the Accumulator protocol and where I see this going in the future. Now, like I said, if you clicked on this video, then you probably already have a good understanding of what I'm probably going to say about Accumulator. But for the sake of the video, let's go ahead and jump into their website here. So as you can see here, this is the Accumulator website. I want to touch on a couple things on the documentation section as well. Now, this is not something that's live yet. So this is a project that is set to go live pretty soon. So I'm going to get this. I mean, they're doing a self launch. So I don't really have the time in which they're going to essentially go live. But I did see a lot of other YouTubers talking about this project in particular. And I feel like they could do maybe a little bit of a better job. So that's my goal, is to educate you guys, give you my impact, my feedback on what I think this project is going to do long term, if they even get to that point, and then go from there. And you can make a decision based on yourself, right? Or based on the information that I provide you today. And you might say, well, Murdoch, why even take the sponsored deal? Well, if somebody passes the criteria that I've set in motion to allow projects here on the channel and allow them to access to you guys, the community, and want to pay me for a review, a full, not like unbiased review of their project, without any fluff, right? And that's exactly what we're going to do today, right? So Accumulator, and essentially this is a rebase protocol, and from the first rebase project that was like Titano, Seifu, then we've had a ton of things, right? We've had things more recently like Optimus, where they have bots trying to control the price, and we all know how that's gone too, right? And in my opinion, I don't think Accumulator is going to be any different. In fact, I think that 90% of people that are actively participating in Accumulator are probably going to lose money. For me, I'm staying away from it just because, like, I don't know, man. I'm so tired of if I'm not getting rugged by a developer or team. Not saying that these guys are going to do that, but if I'm not getting rugged by a developer or team, then the project is failing. But conversely, I would much rather lose money by my own accord by investing into a project that just doesn't end up working out, rather than obviously getting money stolen or rugged from developers, right? So they are KYC with True Seekers. I did talk to Remy, the guy that does all the KYCs. We had him here on a live, I think maybe not last week, but the week before that. We did the first live here on the channel. That was the guy that does all True Seekers KYCs. So had a chance to talk to him. He didn't mention any red flags when going through the KYC process. And then so I decided to talk to the one of the founders and go ahead and do this video. Now, this being a rebase project, there's a couple of things that they're doing differently, right? So look at these crazy tokenomics, and this is how I already know that it's probably not going to work out, right? So for the first 2 weeks, you're getting 2% daily rewards distributed equally to all holders. And again, if you're unfamiliar with what a rebase protocol is, all you do is you buy tokens and they sit in your wallet, and then your wallet is automatically rebased. So you're automatically getting 2% per day, and that's paid out, I believe, for these guys every 30 minutes. So there's a new rebase every 30 minutes. And so over the course of the day, that total rebase equals 2% for the first week or two, or sorry, not week or two, but for week 1 through week 2, there's a 2% rebase per day. As you can see here on the screen, 10% buy tax, 15% sell tax, and then things change as the weeks progress, right? So week 3 to week 4, week 3, week 4, you're looking at the rebase dropping from 2% to 1.5% per day, 5% buy tax, and 10% sell tax. So the buy and sell tax get cut by 5%, but so do the rebase rewards. Week 5 and 6, same thing again, gets cut by another 5.5%. So 1% rebase per day, buy and sell tax are down to 5 and 5 on both sides, right? So 5% buy tax, 5% sell tax. And then week 7 on, they are looking at 0.5% rebase, 0% buy tax, 5% sell tax, and the PSM turn on after week 9. We'll get into what the PSM is here in a second. Here's a little bit of information on the team. This is the guy that I was specifically speaking to in DMs. But let's go ahead and jump into their. I mean, really, this is a very simple project. So basically, I guess you could say that this has the potential to explode in the beginning because of this number here. But how these typically go, guys. Say you got in on Optimus in like the first week or the first couple days. You end up accumulating a bunch of tokens, and then you become a part of the cult, right? You don't want to sell. You're very invested. You're up a bunch, and it gets to the point where you end up just kind of dollar cost averaging your way out, or holding on to your bag until it's essentially worthless, right? Or they end up locking tokens or switching to a new contract or whatever, and you end up getting screwed, right? So in my opinion, or for me, this is why I'm staying away. Just because we already know how these things go. We already know that the likelihood of this crazy APY on a rebase project is not going to do well. However, I would love it if I could be proved wrong. Please prove me wrong. But the likelihood of that happening is probably pretty low. And I hope you guys understand that. And I'm not telling you what to do with your money. If you want to gamble, go ahead, by all means. For me, I'm not. I would rather take the probably $2,000-$3,000 that I would put into this protocol, and I would rather put it into bots. I would rather put it into Astrobit bots so I can control what happens. Like, sure, a bot could have a bad day or a bad play or take a loss, but at the end of the day, like, I still have the access to all of my funds, and I can pull them out whenever I want, or I could stop the bots whenever I want. Like, I'm not putting myself at as much risk. That's just me. That's where I'm at in my growth in the DeFi space. Let me know what you guys think down below. Like, is this something that you have interest in? Or are you going to learn from your past mistakes and not jump into these types of rebase projects? Definitely curious on what the consensus is. If you want to just drop hate too down below of me covering a project, even though I'm giving a very unbiased opinion, then that's fine as well. So if you want to waste your time, by all means, go ahead. So like I said, this is just kind of going back over what I already said. So weeks 9 to infinity, sale tax, and let's see what this PSM is. In the first 8 weeks, our growth metric is supported by intrinsic growth value and its taxation of buys and sells. These taxes start fairly high and will decline at a pace with the decrease of the rebase size and like so. And even these taxes, guys, like these 15 and 10 on a 2% rebase, like this is not much taxes. Like we've seen rebase projects with way bigger taxes. Just, I mean, obviously Fathom is not a rebase project, but just look at their taxes on entry. You know what I mean? So like this is not, this 15% sale tax is not going to be a indicator for people to not want to sell. If they're up, people are going to be taking projects. So this is going to be very, very volatile. And like I said, 90% of you, if you do decide to jump into this project, are going to lose money, right? For those other 10% that are probably either get really lucky and are able to get in super early and catch the stealth launch, or there's those people that are educated in the DeFi space or have a little bit more experience and can be able to time the peaks and valleys, right? The dips and the pumps, right? Buy low, sell high type stuff. Now, rebasing happens every 30 minutes. They also have the PSM, which is the price stability matrix. And before we get into this, let me see, is there, okay. Total supply of 2.1 million tokens. 2 million tokens are in the LP with $20,000 in BUSD. They did not do any kind of pre-raise or anything like that. This is all self-funded, so that's good to see. I mean, that's a positive. Setting a launch price of 1 cent in BUSD. 100,000 tokens are in a giveaway treasury, and that is for promotional use. However, if you watch the video where I talk about my terms and who I choose to bring on the channel, this is one metric that I will not take, is team tokens or project tokens as form of payment to be featured here on the channel. The token will be available on command swap. So again, this is a command swap thing, which is interesting because if this gets a ton of volume, obviously Truth Seekers has a vested interest in making sure that this project gets a ton of volume because that burns truth, right? Command swap transactions burn truth tokens. So obviously that makes sense and is kind of bullish for Truth Seekers, but we'll see how this goes, right? I mean, do I think it's going to be as crazy as Optimus was? Probably not. I think that a lot of people are kind of hip to the game, so to speak, when it comes to these rebase projects. But here you can see stealth launch on the 6th or 7th. Today is the 7th. So we'll be launching today. We just don't know what time yet. So, take that into account as well. 2 million tokens in the LP. Total supply of 2.1 million tokens. So that's a rather small supply in terms of tokens. So that's also cool to see. I mean, it might be set up to do well. I think that long term this is going to be something that really struggles. But let's look at this price stability matrix. So the PSM is a proprietary liquidity management system that will allow for the accumulator's floor price to be guaranteed for a long stretch of time. And we know how these work out as well, right? We saw all this shit happen already with Optimus. The PSM will be switched on after the first 8 weeks. We have passed, or the first 8 weeks have passed and will be set to a floor price and ceiling based on price discovery of the first week. So that's essentially, after all the craziness in the first 8 weeks, that's their plan to kind of minimize the fluctuations in price after that first 8-week period. And because the rebases go down so heavily in week 8, right? You're looking at 0.5% from all the way from 2%. So we'll see how this goes. It will be interesting to watch. For me, I'm just going to sit on the sidelines and keep my cash. Like I said, I would rather put it in to some leveraged bot trading. On its price floor, the PSM will buy the ACU token to sustain the price and will fund itself by reducing the BUSD/ACU LP on command swap. This LP reduction achieves 3 things. Less buy pressure is required to increase the price back up to the ceiling. But here's the thing, right? Is if they get a major dump in tokens, like, are they going to continue to fight that? Or are they going to let the price dump all the way down and then buy it back up? Because obviously the latter is cheaper to do. Whereas if they're trying to fight all this sale pressure and keep the price stable, then they're wasting so much money by doing so. So I'd be interested to see how how their plans are for that, right? The BUSD from the LP or from the broken LP funds is buying power of BUSD from broken LP funds the buying power from the PSM. Okay, got it. The ACU tokens from the broken LP gets burnt to deflate the ACU supply, thereby increasing ACU's intrinsic value. And they're starting at a pretty low. Starting at a pretty low token supply, but we'll see what this supply ends up inflating to based on rebases when they get to week 8, right? It'll be interesting. We all know how quickly Optimus tokens grew in total supply, and yeah, I'm being kind of curious to see how that works. But really, like, that's it in a nutshell. So it's a pretty, I mean, if you're up to date with how these rebase protocols work, I mean, it's pretty simple to kind of understand this. But just know that you're probably going to lose money, and like, if you decide to get in, please only use risk capital. Like I said, for me, I'm sitting on the sidelines, not something I'm interested at this point in time. Maybe like a couple months back when I was a little bit more degen and doing a couple of things on the degen side of things. But that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to my rambling here. Again, remember, don't just follow a dumb YouTuber's advice. Make sure you get in and get the information for yourself. You can make an informed decision on what you're going to do with your money, determine if it's something that you want to jump into, or if you're like me and are trying to learn from your mistakes and maybe sit on the sideline with me and just watch what happens. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.